So the first script that we'll take a look at is the Dead Ven Script, and what we're going to do is we're going to take all of the accounts payable activity, or otherwise known as my invoices header file, or what I called it in the payables test set called the paid file. But again, what it has is all open and paid activity, and each record or row is an invoice transaction, and I'm going to summarize that activity on vendor and accumulate the amount. And once I do that accumulation, any amounts that are less than 0 are going to be debit balance vendors. So let's move now to the data files that are provided in the presentation, and the PTS files, or payables test set files, is where you want to look. We're going to double click there, and in this we have the ACL file as well as a variety of FIL files. I'm going to open up this ACL project file, and you may not need all of those other files for purposes of your practice, but you do have them and can use them as you desire. So at first off, we're going to run the Dead Ven script, and I just wanted to show you how to, in running this test, how this payables test set works. So if I right-click the Dead Ven script and click on Run, the application will list all vendors that have a net debit balance. That's what we want. And again, it gives you a little bit of an explanation up top, but also we're going to then select the paid file. So right now I just need to select this paid invoice file, and this is also discussed in that notebook that we also showed you. And then we're going to select the vendor name or number field. In this case, I will go down and select vendor number, and then the invoice amount field that you want to select, and in this case we'll select invoice amount. So regardless what data file you have, as long as it represents a paid file and it has the vendor number field and the invoice amount field, you're fine and can run this script and not have to know anything else really. The script will do all the work for you. So let me click on OK, and this has now created a file called ven dead bal, and you can see that all of these vendors have a negative amount when they summarize all of their open and paid activity. So now that we've run the script, I want to take a look at that script, the Dead Ven script here, and I'm going to edit that script. And in looking at the Dead Ven script, again, based on the payables test set, we can look down below here and see that there is a dialog, as well as that, well, first off, there's that pause statement that jumped out at us and said the application will list all vendors. So that's how you write a pause statement. And then in the dialog script itself, let me just kind of edit that one, you can see how we're selecting the paid invoice file. And if I double click on that here, we can see the variable being input, and that's a variable that's being saved, and it's looking at the tables within ACL. So down below here, it's then opening up that input file. Again, if you ever use a variable in ACL and want to open it up as a table, let's say in this case, or use it as a data field, as we'll do here in invoice amount, you need to surround it in percentage marks, as we've done here. So in this dialog, we selected what fields, the ven num field and the inv amount field. And just quickly going through this script to show you, we're then summarizing on those items, the ven num, and accumulating the invoice amount. And we're then, that new file is being opened up, and that new file is called sum. And then we're extracting the results of that if the invoice amount is less than 0 to a new file called ven dead bal, and we're opening that up. And again, we have some other some other points here, such as delete all OK. We'll actually delete the variables within ACL, which is ven num, inv amount, etc. And delete sum.fil and delete format sum OK, which is this temporary file we created That is how you delete a file off of the hard drive, and this is how you delete the input file definition, which is, these input file definitions here. That's how you delete that format. Setting safety on and off, I like to do that just so that the program will not stop and ask questions like, do you want me to overwrite this or overwrite that? And again, that is also some ACL code that you can utilize to just make the script more efficient. The reason I went through this script in detail and wanted to show you every component is really to say that every script that is provided follows a similar format. So as we look at the other scripts, they all will kind of have that dialogue up front, the set safety up front, etc. And I think in many ways, I hope that you can use these scripts elsewhere yourself and editing them and using them, because they do provide a nice template of a script.